But what's money laundering to a normal person?
So money laundering is when money is earned illegitimately through an illegitimate activity that is usually defined as a predicate crime.
Yeah.
And that predicate crime earns profits, but these profits must be spent. So they must go into the normal financial system. So the laundering of that money is cleaning up that money. So you either start a nightclub, you start a legitimate business, the legitimate business invoices, the money that is invoiced is banked, and part of what is invoiced is the money from these proceeds of this illegal activity that are then brought into the financial system. So that act of making this dirty money, clean money through a legitimate activity is actually what is called money laundering. Then it goes into the system and people can enjoy the proceeds.
You're making me wonder how much money is being laundered in the crypto space.
Before I even talk about the crypto space, we need to understand that apartheid, colonialism were all crimes against humanity.
Yeah.
So the control of people, the control of their land, control of their resources, control of their minerals was all a crime. That is accepted.
Yeah.
Apartheid was actually called a crime against humanity. So was colonialism. And laws have been made against them. And we've got so-called legitimate companies that continue to control human labor, the resources that they stole during colonialism and slavery, and the minerals that they stole during colonialism and slavery. They continue to enslave people to work in these mines. Anglo-America does it. Glencore does it. And even now, Glencore has even gone and started bribing governments all across the world. They even start wars. That money that they earn, these legitimate profits that they earn, are illegitimate.
Yeah.
And the way that they are brought into the banking system, the way that they have shares and the way that they give profits and dividends, that is actually money laundering.
Jeez.
If the tables were turned around, if what is happening with Anglo-America was happening in Europe, and if Anglo-America was African, they would be calling the proceeds of all these multinational companies, all these blue chip companies, all the companies sitting on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, their proceeds would be called money laundering proceeds, and those monies would be blocked.
I disrupted you. 1996, they include
Right.
money
So
laundering.
1996, they include money laundering.
Yeah.
2001, we have the World Trade Center bombings.
Yeah.
Immediately a month later in October, they then create new laws that now incorporate terrorism. Now, when you hear all these things I'm saying...
By new laws, you're talking in the financial system.
Yes, in the
You're
financial
not speaking
system.
defense. You're speaking
In the financial
in particular
system.
with finance.
With the Financial Action Task Force.
Yeah.
But a secret as to why that was done is then told by a guy who worked in the US Treasury, a guy by the name of Juan Zaret. Juan Zaret says, I was one of the treasury directors, and my responsibility was a treasurer director for counterterrorism in the United States Treasury. And so once we had 9/11, which many people say was done by the Americans themselves,
That's then a conspiracy.
It's said to be a conspiracy.
Okay.
So we leave that one.
Sure.
But what is interesting is Juan Zaret says a month later, they sat as the US Treasury and they decided that they were going to put pressure on the Financial Action Task Force created by the G7 that had these 22 members to create new laws on controlling the movement of money, the funding of terrorism, money laundering, so that they could control the banking systems of the world.